Welcome back to the second episode of the Aarau Beavers. Thanks for tuning in again. And hold tight because there's a cute little surprise at the end. In March it was very quiet around the beaver den. I did not get a single sighting on my wildlife camera. But then finally, at the beginning of April, there was a beaver again. So I decided to put my camera back in front of the den. And sure enough, our first visitor was a fox. The fox with the bushy tail. And the beaver came back that morning to go to bed. Looks like it's patchy with like a light coat, but not sure at this point. Also, our Blackie is back, our black cat. And in the evening, the first beaver looks like Patchy leaving the den. And then the darker beaver, which is probably Nick, and you also see the Nick in his tail again. I'm not sure about the genders, and you'll see why in a bit. Another fox coming by. And going back to bed again. This one looks awfully big, don't you think? The stomach looks very round. I don't know if it's just fat at this point. I did get suspicious because it was mid-April, and beavers, if they're pregnant, they would carry them until the end of April, beginning of May. So it would kind of fit. But obviously you cannot really tell from just this footage, and I don't have any comparison. This is Patchy going to bed, and then followed by Nick a bit later. The days are getting longer again. It's very light already early on. And they get out at approximately like 9 p.m. again. The second one also leaves the den shortly after the first one. And this one's Nick again, if you see the Nick in his tail. Patchy going to bed after 6. Also here, you see how round her belly is. And Nick follows in a bit. Blackie is around again. They seem pretty active these days, and I was lucky to get a lot of footage. Again, Patchy going to bed, and then followed by Nick a bit later. And then I was actually hoping to have more footage of the evening, but instead I get someone removing my camera and throwing it into the bushes. Luckily I found the camera and also the beavers in the morning. This is Patchy grooming herself. Again, Patchy, you really see her white fur or under fur is very white. Look at those toes and those toenails. She needs those to spread the oil all over her body. And this was Nick. He was patrolling. He didn't really get close to the den. I think he noticed I was there. I got some nice shots. I saw how he was digging underneath the water, and it gave a track of muddy water afterwards. This was on the other side of the den. Is the den still looking the same with all the piled up wood on the left? And Patchy leaving the den in the evening after I set up the camera again. It seemed like this night Nick was not sleeping in the den. He was coming from the water and then walked towards the den to check if Patchy was there, and then he walked away again. So he was not sleeping there that night. He then piles up wood, gathers wood, and brings it to the den. He continued piling up wood, bringing some wood to the den. I don't know why he was doing this at this point. Seems like they were closing another entrance, because the closed off entrance is to the right, but this was their entrance that they were using at the moment. Maybe Patchy was indeed having babies. They were trying to close up and make baby proof so no predators could get to the babies. See a fox in the background again. Kind of heard something in the background, it seems. And it also checks out the den and what Nick was piling up. Patchy comes back that night, and look at her belly. It's very round tonight. So I got really suspicious when I saw this footage. She's scratching her back, spreading all the oil on her fur. Look at that belly. Here it's even bigger. Didn't really see that on other images that it was that big, or other videos, so I was really hoping they would have babies there and that we would see them one day. One last back rub before going to bed. Look at that big belly. And off she goes. I then went back again in the morning to check on him and ensure enough, I could watch them in the early morning. This was Nick munching on a tree close by, getting into the water. They feel safer in the water, so beavers usually go into the water to eat. And he enjoyed that branch. I also saw Nick, again, how he was working on another den on the other side where I usually saw them. And you see this by the mud tracks that form when they dig underneath the water. And I thought he was making an entrance to another den. However, after this day, I did not see him work at all there anymore. So I guess it was not a good choice for them to build that new fort. Here you see the mud water forming all the way downstream. I then spotted him how he went to sleep somewhere else. This is where you see his tail. He had another, call it kind of tree house. And on my wild camera, I did see Patchy get out of her den, but sure enough, Nick was not sleeping there because Nick was in his tree house on the other side of this den. So it seems like they have multiple homes. But then Nick does come back in the evening and brings wood again. You see that it's Nick because you see his tail and a darker fur color. It's time for Patchy to go to bed. Again, she's kind of a big belly there. This is very obvious right here. Good old belly rub. Scratches her arm. Maybe they just want to waterproof their fur, so they have to get the oil, the secreted oil, everywhere onto their fur. Sometimes you also see them together as a couple helping each other. I think in my last video you saw that once. I did see them doing that later on. But then she does not enter the den. This is this is a bit later, and also this is Nick now coming to the den, but remember Patchy just turned around. This is Nick entering at like 7:01. But then 3 minutes later, also he decides to, okay, seen enough, I'm not sleeping here. So at this point I was like, where are they? But I went back and I actually found them in that hole again. And these are the two sleeping in the treehouse. Can you spot all the wood they piled up just below the treehouse den? And here you see how they're grooming each other. I also saw them eating grass the next morning. They were very active. There's a lot of beavers out there, and I saw 2 fighting. There's also all these other critters and owls. She actually returned to the initial den. It was really raining that day, but again, she does not enter, she leaves again. So something must have been there that bugged them, because it was actually, so mid-end April, they actually moved out of the den, and I basically did not see them anymore. This is the fox, you see that? And this is another beaver, so you see the dark fur color, but it's not Nick, because Nick has that nick in his tail. This is Patchy again with the light fur color, coming back, sniffing. Sure enough, something she doesn't like. She turns around and leaves again. See, they got active very early in the afternoon too. One of the beavers coming back, 9. But again, turning around. Weird tail fox is back. One of the beavers checks the den again. Looks like Patchy with a big stomach, but again moving away. This is an interesting behavior that I could not explain until today. I guess they just have multiple homes and they didn't like something specific. And they were probably, or Patchy was probably giving birth in the next day, so they wanted a really secure place, and this doesn't really seem secure with all the foxes walking around. Here's again the weird-tailed fox, very fast. Patchy came back one afternoon, heavy rain, probably not that many people out, so she did not feel disturbed. You see her whitish, silvery fur color. She doesn't seem that have too big of a belly anymore, and she leaves again shortly after. Again, another fox, kind of a half bushy tailed fox. And there's bent-tailed fox again. Kind of entering, so that was interesting. And now it's leaving again, but it's kind of sticking close to that entrance that the beavers used, and the presence is kind of getting more abundant. There's another fox again, so it seems like there's a lot of foxes around, and that would not be safe for any beaver baby, especially if they don't have an underwater entrance, which is weird for these beavers. But as an adult, they don't really have any natural predators. There's a lot of activity with the foxes now once the beavers left. And here it's even during the daytime. The bent, weird tail fox is back. You see a very dark fur color. Sniffing around. It's kind of midday. Now what you see is, oh, that must be a female because look at those nipples. It seems like someone is hungry there. Looks like she's a mama fox with babies. It was really nice to get those images. She's there a lot. I don't know if she has her den close by. She's not the only one with babies. There's also ducks. There's a mandarin duck mommy with her. I think that one had 5, another one had 7. So they're really doing well. Here you see them in the afternoon sun. Also other ducks having babies. Spring is in full mode. And not the only one that has babies. This is Patchy, and you see her nipples. And beavers only show nipples once they, if they have babies. So that was a nice indicator. And then I did probably find the place where she had her babies. I saw her on the other side going in to this. Was also not an underwater entrance, but I see how she was collecting these branches from the riverbed. So they probably stored these branches into water, probably to make the bark softer. Maybe for the babies to munch on. This is end of May already, so the babies, or the baby could be 1 month old already, and maybe already eating soft wood or soft bark. And I see her go in and out of that bush, and I did not feel like going close because I did not want to interrupt them or scare them or stress them out. Here you see how she's digging for that wood on the riverbed. And she swims with it. Look, with that big load in her mouth. Looks like a very tedious job. And it doesn't seem like she was eating it. And I saw her on the path where I was waiting for her. She went to get fresh leaves and wood. That was really cool. And you see how light her fur color is, so I knew it was Patchy. And then off she goes. And also back to that entrance there. Then something else caught my attention. I looked back and look what was there. Like baby foxes in the bushes. You see them? Someone's now looking straight at me and recognized me and back in. He seemed very, very small. Probably only a few days old, maybe a few weeks. I put my camera there, and sure enough, it was very active. Look at those cute little babies. I did not know, this was right behind the den, so I did not know whose babies it was or which fox. I was hoping I would get a glimpse of the mom. And look, they're not just 2 or 3, there's actually 4 of them, and they're playing around. Very active around the entrance of their den, eating some leaves. Probably doesn't really taste so good for them. Playing around. One of them kind of found the camera. And they're out and about the whole day. This is 4 in the afternoon. Just playing around, unsupervised. Also when it gets later, they're still around. They're all really close to the entrance though. Some seem more shy. Here's 4 of them out there playing. You see their black tips on their ears. Oh, and there's the mommy. So who's coming out there? She did not come out, she just showed her face. They also have multiple entrances, so you have to get lucky with capturing. They leave that particular entrance or exit. But here you see it's bent-tailed fox, so the mommy that we saw before with the nipples, that is the mom of these baby foxies. Here again, that was very quick, but it was her again with her long tail. Next evening, and I could see them again live. They were so adorable. Look at how they're staring at me. They're very shy, so they went straight to the den again. My friend also went back, and he was even luckier. He saw one during the daytime right behind him. I then placed it to another entrance where he took the photo. And you see how they use 2 exits. And I assumed it was the same den because the entrances were very close by. And here you see a little one sunbathing on the left, enjoying the sun. You see they have almost blue-gray eyes. And the fur color really looks orange in the sun. Here's Mama Foxy coming out. Sure enough, 3 of them exiting. There should be 4. Again, taking a nap in the sun. Looks really nice and really close to the entrance, just in case something happens. What a cutie pie. They're goofing around. It's nice to have siblings to play. And there's 3 of them playing. Oh no, 4 of them. Look at those black ears. They're really enjoying that evening together. Wait a minute, there's even 5. 5 little foxies. Aren't they adorable? So thank you so much for watching. I hope you liked the surprise at the end. And I hope we get some footage of the baby beavers pretty soon. So tune in again to be updated hopefully very soon. Thank you for watching.